Hello and welcome you crazy people to Tabletop Oddity. My name is Jay and today I'm going to be asking the question, is 2018 the most important year in wargaming history? Well, I mean, I'm going to be talking about why I think that might be the case. I just want to quickly address, I know recently that I've been doing quite a lot of these just come on and talk videos. I am trying to work on terrain. I'm also trying to paint up my kill team, and when I'm doing hobbying, basically I don't have anything to show on the channel, so I'm very much aware of that. I went out today to try and buy some stuff for terrain, so do bear with me on that one. But I want to talk about why I think this year specifically might be a pivotal year in wargaming history. So I guess we have to look at previous years before I can even start making such a statement. And we could look back to maybe when D&D started, or maybe when Games Workshop opened, or maybe when 40k was first released, or maybe when X-Wing was first released. Like, I think you can probably make a reason for those years to be the most important. But I wasn't necessarily around then, so I can't really comment. I do think that some important years were probably X-Wing release, probably when Warhammer Fantasy got squatted, basically, and Age of Sigmar replaced it, because that was like a pivotal shift of a big company going from one game to another. But why do I think 2018 is this important pivotal year? Well, there's a few obvious reasons, and it's sort of what our channel is sort of dedicated to, and these are the games I see me playing for the foreseeable future, and that is Star Wars Legion was released in March this year, Warhammer Kill Team has just been released, and X-Wing 2.0 is also coming out. There's a few extra amendments to that. We've also had Age of Sigmar 2, but we'll start from the start, right? Last year was actually quite a significant year as well in terms of releases. You had 40k's new edition, the 8th edition. You had Age of Sigmar's, what am I talking about? Shadespire, there we go. Shadespire. And I'm very much aware that there have been other games like Warhammer's War Machine had its Mark III, I think, last year. And I'm not going to talk about them too much, but I'm very much aware that there are other games, don't get me wrong. But we'll start from the start of what I'm talking about, and that is Star Wars Legion. I've talked before about how important Star Wars Legion could be, because I deem it it has the potential to be a very significant contender or competition to Warhammer 40k. Now, there have of course been games that have, attempted that and done, like, they have their own little niche, I say niche, but they're quite big. War Machine, that's the classic one. Even stuff like Guild Ball, I guess you could include Moo Wars, but Infinity, Malifaux, all that kind of stuff, they have never really properly encroached on the dominance of 40k. I don't think anybody would argue that, but X-Wing possibly did. Now, X-Wing was a different kind of game, obviously, but X-Wing and 40k became the two biggest games, pretty much. And I think Star Wars Legion has the potential to properly compete against 40k. I've talked about that in a few different videos. I think partly because of the license. It's got a large, it's a 6x3 table. It's a large scale game. There's less models and stuff like that, but it is essentially a large scale game. I just said the license is fantastic. They're going to have more factions. It's getting supported well. It could take a while, but I feel like it's a proper competitor that can compete on a true scale with 40k. 40k is absolutely huge, though. Don't get me wrong. And the fact that Legion came out in March of this year, I think that's we're in for a good couple of years there. Then I think technically we had the Age of Sigmar 2 release. Now, I talked about when Fantasy was squatted. At the time, I was like, Age of Sigmar, That's not going to do anything. Not interested in that game because I was a fantasy player, so I was quite bitter about the situation. So keep that in mind. But I think Age of Sigmar's 2's release is actually quite significant because it shows that Age of Sigmar has done well enough to get a second edition. And quite frankly, I was wrong. I didn't think the game would be that successful, and it slowly built up and become quite a well played, well liked game, which I personally didn't expect. And Age of Sigmar 2 is sort of the lighthouse of that. It's the thing that's, you know, showing us that is true. Now, as I said, there are other games like, and we're getting God Tier, Wild West Exodus. There are other games, and I don't want to like not talk about them at all, but I don't think they're going to have they're not quite going to be as big as the games that I'm talking about. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, but these are the Goliaths of the industry, basically. Then what do we get? Well, we got Kill Team. Now, Kill Team to me is an indication that Games Workshop have noted the trend. Yep, it may have started with X-Wing, and whenever X-Wing was released, like 6-7 years ago, of a small competitive game, basically. And I think other games in that sense were like War Machine, although War Machine probably came out before X-Wing for all I know, but it's in the same vein. Guild Ball, as I said, these sort of smaller games focused probably on like competitive stuff, and like coming quite frankly a lot from FFG, that kind of rule system. They obviously had the license with Games Workshop at one point, and I think Games Workshop have been like, right, we have seen this trend, we're going to get in on this trend. And that's weird because they've had Kill Team before, they had Shadow War Armageddon, but I think really the first indication of what they were going to do was actually Shadespire last year. Shadespire was like, 3 to 7 models or whatever it is, with tokens and that kind of thing. I think Shadespire was like, this is what we're going to try, and Kill Team is just a further extension of that. It's a small skirmish game, it has tokens, it takes an hour to play, no more than an hour to play. I think that's Games Workshop being like, we know we're going to also get in on this market. And the fact that they're supporting it as well as if they support it as well as they say they're going to support it, it then gives us a possibility of having like Games Workshop and FFG in this skirmish space, along with all the other companies, and hopefully really competitive tight rules. And that to me it's Games Workshop accepting that, and it's the fact that that's an indication of what we're going to continue to get, basically. And then finally, X-Wing 2.0. The app, I'm so happy about the app coming for X-Wing 2.0. I think a lot of other companies and games need it. It's 2018. I feel like we could easily have that. I think the app might be really, really significant, but I also think like the way that they're adapting the game, adding more factions, really suggests that X-Wing could very easily be around for another half a decade or more. And I think that's sort of the main point here, that these games, I think, you're looking at the next several years worth of the top end of the gaming stratosphere. Like Legion, if it continues to get supported, it's a great game. It could definitely go one way or the other, but like it could definitely be a proper competitor to 40k. Age of Sigmar, like I'm not really into it myself. But I can definitely see the appeal of it. It's like the fantasy version of 40k essentially, isn't it? And I can see why a lot of people would like it. But the fact that it's around doing well, another Games Workshop game doing well, that's fine. And Kill Team, as I said, is the indication, it's the acceptance. These small scale games are doing well. Games Workshop need to be in on it. And again, I think Kill Team could, until the next edition, could definitely easily be a significant part of Games Workshop's releases, because it seems to be doing quite well. A lot of hype, and a lot of people are excited about it, and quite frankly, it's a lot easier and like mentally more relaxing to have. Like, I only need to pay 5 to 10 guys. I don't need to paint 70 guys and pay 300 quid or whatever it is for an army. So I think Kill Team's in a nice little segment. It's a great idea. If they keep supporting it well, fantastic. And then X-Wing 2.0, it's the current like one to beat essentially. If you look at the sales figures, 40k possibly beat it in the last one, but that's a little bit disingenuous, because obviously if you announce a second edition with new stuff and you need conversion kits and stuff like that, you're obviously going to have a tricky conversion period. So I just feel like those games, to me, I could be playing. I could see myself playing those in 5 years' time, and being pretty happy with it, I think. As long as they all keep getting releases and that kind of thing, I can see that happening. Now, don't get me wrong, there are going to be other games, and I completely understand, you know, you might not even play any of these, but as an industry, it sort of feels like this is where it has the chance to properly get into its maturation phase. It becomes a bit more mature, the paths are set, the battlegrounds are ready, and this is what happens. Whether or not something will come in and upset the apple cart, mock the apple cart, whatever the phrase is, we'll see. Let me know your thoughts. I'm very intrigued, because I was in the Wargame. I wasn't in for a long time. I only got into it when I was like 20 odd. In for it for a couple of years, out and then back in. So I wonder, am I possibly just being taken in by the sales pitches? It's very possible, you know, like maybe I'm just like, I'm getting in on these new games and I don't care about the other games. But no, I feel like I'm pretty convinced that these are my games, and I'm happy about it. It's like when we started the channel, I didn't really know where we were going with it and stuff like that, and it sort of just felt like the dominoes have fallen into place. And I'm happy about that, basically. What has been a more important year? We've had so many, like, I mean, just having Kill Team and X-Wing 2.0 is important. But you had Legion, Age of Sigmar 2. Oh, I just think it sets the... It's like we know what's happening for the next couple of years, probably until Warhammer 9th edition, and then we'll 40k, and then we'll see what happens then. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. Has there been a more important year? What year was it? How long ago was it? I mean, if you tell me what year it was, I'll be able to figure it out. But you know what I mean. Yeah, just thought I'd talk about that. I will try and actually get into making stuff soon. It's just I'm busy trying to paint my models. If you like this video, do like. If you're not subscribed already, please do. Thank you to anybody who supports me on Patreon. It really does help. There'll be a link in the description below if you want to join that and help me. If you do, I love you. I love you anyway, but I love you just a little bit more. No, I don't. I love you equally. Maybe a little bit more. Have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day. And yeah, goodbye. Bye, guys.